Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Sony's PS4 release E3 announcement and conference that they just held this evening. We had the Xbox One's release and conference for E3 this morning. Link to that on screen as well as in the description down below. But today we're going to be taking a look right now at the PS4. Now, we got information that the price is actually going to be $399. That was a big talking point. We also got to see what it actually looked like. The conference actually started a few minutes late, so basically in this video I'm just going to recap, review everything that happened. It started out, they kind of did the same thing as Xbox. They started with, you know, the Vita as well as the PS3, talking about that as well as some of the releases that are going to be coming out for it before the end of the year here, and before we actually see the PS4 coming out. They mentioned there's going to be a new Walking Dead episode, which for the game you can actually play it. The game on screen now is The Last of Us, which is kind of like a zombie shooter, sort of similar to The Walking Dead. It looks like an amazing game. It's been getting a ton of good reviews and really been hyped up a lot, so that should be interesting. The next one they went into was the Puppeteer. This looks like a pretty interesting game, probably targeting more of the younger generation. Kind of, again, has kind of a Mario style feel where it's going to be 2D, or rather you're going to be looking at it from a side view, moving left and right. Definitely looks pretty interesting, and it'll surely appeal to certain audiences. Next, they showed us Rain, which it was a ghost walking around in the rain. I didn't understand it at all or any of the gameplay. Yeah, we'll see how it actually is when it does get released. The next one that they went into was Beyond. This actually looks more like a movie than a video game. Looks like it's really going to be interesting. It actually has Ellen Page in it, which you might know the name of. She's a pretty famous actress, but the storyline for this actually seems pretty cool. You are Ellen Page, who gets recruited or forced to go into training, trains, and then becomes like this special op person, goes on some insane mission. At least that's what we saw initially. I'm not sure if the entire game will be similar to that, but it does look really interesting and something that you want to keep on your watch list. This one's coming out in October for the PS3. Finally, we got to look at some of the graphics for Gran Turismo. Now, this one, we didn't get to see very much gameplay, actually, from any of these games, but we didn't see very much gameplay, but the graphics definitely do look cool. It says there's going to be a new engine, some new graphics, new things like that, so we'll see how it actually turns out. Also coming this fall, we got to look at Batman Arkham Origins. This looks like an amazing game. This is one of the strongest single-player games, and so many people are a fan of Batman. Again, unfortunately though, we didn't get to see some actual gameplay from the person controlling it. PlayStation will exclusively get this custom skin for Batman, as well as a piece of DLC. And finally, the actual PlayStation 4. This is what it's going to look like. The controller and the box right there, as you can see, it's kind of got the square look, blue line through it, and then the sides of it are diagonal, as he shows you a side view right there. Looks pretty interesting. I don't think it's anything earth-shattering, but it does look pretty cool, and some might say cooler than the Xbox One, but that is neither here nor there. After that, they decided to talk about entertainment, ironically, and how they're good for Netflix and Redbox and a bunch of random things like that, which I didn't feel were worth even covering. After that, they started with the games, which is what everybody was excited for. Unfortunately, we didn't see any gameplay from this one. This was called The Order 1886. Looks pretty interesting, kind of like an old world 1886 thing, but he had something on his shoulder there. He talked into a microphone at one point, which I didn't quite understand, and they had some badass weapons though, so that looks sick. After that, we got to take a look at some first-person shooter gameplay from Killzone. Looks really awesome. Unfortunately, as you might have noticed, some of this graphics are not up to 100% quality. That's because I was watching and recording this via the live stream, which was also having a lot of trouble. At least you can hopefully get an idea here. Next, they showed us DriveClub, which looks like it's going to be the next driving game for the PS4 here. They, again, didn't really show us any gameplay, but we got to see some cars sliding around and doing some drifts. The next game they showed us, though, actually looked really awesome. That was Second Son. Looks like the world is in disarray or something, and this punk hoodlum is just going after the popo, and he's got some special fire powers or something, and the abilities look really awesome. I'm sure it'll be an RPG-style game and have a cool storyline with a lot of cool different combo-type game. And then next they showed us Knack, which actually we had previously seen in the original release in February when they did their first announcement. They said this was going to be one of the original games that are just going to be released when the PS4 is released as well. After that, Sony showed us somewhat trailer-like clip for the Dark Sorcerer. This looks amazing graphics here. I have no idea what the game's about, and they didn't really tell us anything about it. They just kind of showcased the graphics. After this, they made kind of a joke out of it, and as you can see, this is actual game footage, but they're pretending like he's a real person and acting. Anyways, it was funny. Next, they showed us a little bit of their indie game support, which they're actually going to be, you know, really helping out. As you can see, there's a few different clips from some of them that they showed here. None of them really look that special. I'm personally not too much into indie games, but it'll be almost taking a direct hit at the Ouya, which actually just came out and was there to kind of help those indie guys who couldn't get onto the consoles. So this will be interesting and see how that counteracts kind of that. We didn't see any gameplay from it, but we heard that Diablo 3 will be coming out for it, and also that Sony will be receiving a few exclusives. One of those things being the amulet from Uncharted and some shoulders from the other game, Journey. For all you Final Fantasy fans out there, we got to see Final Fantasy Versus, which has tremendous graphics. Again, the quality of this video doesn't do it quite justice. You might have to take a look at another one to see the full effects, but it definitely looks really awesome, and if you're into Final Fantasy, I'm sure you'll love this game. All of the actual wording was in Japanese, so they actually put English subtitles, but then the headlines were actually in English, so then they put Japanese subtitles. I thought that was kind of weird. And then a huge throwback for me, back to PlayStation 2 Kingdom Hearts. They said Kingdom Hearts 3 is now in production. No other information than that, which was kind of disappointing, but I absolutely loved Kingdom Hearts, so I never actually played the second one, but yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out. The next one they had a little bit of trouble with. You might have heard Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Unfortunately, when they were playing it, it actually froze, so we never got to see the ending or the conclusion of whatever was happening, but we did get to see some footage of him controlling the pirate ship, which was interesting. At the beginning, he was doing the classic Assassin's Creed, being very stealthy. Then he did some hardcore parkour, flew over to his ship magically by jumping on all the tree branches and stuff, and then commanded his ship, telling him to raise the black flag. So that's going to be the main thing revolving around kind of this character who is a pirate. So that'll be kind of interesting. We actually just saw a recent Assassin's Creed game come out, which I still haven't had the chance to play, unfortunately. Assassin's Creed is such a huge single-player game. They tried to incorporate more multiplayer, which we didn't actually see any of. Unfortunately, as you can see right here, this is where it was freezing. At first, I thought it was my stream, but nope, it started freezing up, and then it actually completely froze out later on. Finally, a new game that I think is really unique and has its own style, Watchdogs, where you are this hacker who can hack into anybody's cell phone, any ATM, or control any of the lights, cameras, things like that. Black out an entire city, as you see right here, to escape. So really interesting game. It's got a lot of unique play styles and an open world feel to it at the same time. So definitely a game to keep an eye out on. We also got to see a little bit of sports action, seeing LeBron James talk to himself, and then him dunk some hoops as a character here in the game. Looks really awesome, but again, we didn't get to see any gameplay, which is something that I really was looking forward to. Now for a game that was meant to go online, Elder Scrolls Online. Coming out of the saga, another Elder Scrolls game. A lot of people are going to be excited about this one. I personally never played an Elder Scrolls games, but I've checked it out and it looks pretty awesome, and from the amount of action and chaos that was happening right there, looks like there's going to be a lot of people in one game and a lot of action. That one's coming in spring 2014. Next was Mad Max, which actually I think has old TV and old video game references. I didn't understand it. Possibly you guys will, but there's this guy lying on the side of the road, or rather in the middle of nowhere, and then Mad Max comes up, almost kills him with his gun, but he only has one bullet, so he decides to run over him, and that was what we saw from Mad Max. Next, they took a direct stab over at the Xbox One, as PS4 will be supporting used games. Now, this is something that Xbox is not going to be doing. You're probably going to, I think it was that you're going to have to pay something extra if you want to play a used game on the Xbox. That's going to hurt the used games market, so, you know, there you go. If you want to resell your PS4 games, you can go to GameStop and get 50 cents for them, no problem. Now, EA still is going to have theirs with FIFA, Battlefield, all those things. They still have their rule where you have to pay $10 if you're going to play it on another account, but that's just one other aspect. Also, the PS4 is not going to require you to log on or go online every 24 hours. This personally doesn't affect me because I'm in my house with Wi-Fi and I only play multiplayer games. I'm not big into the single player. As you can see, that guy's standing up. He's really excited about it. This will leave the door wide open for the pirating market, which I'm sure a lot of people are happy about as well, as that's going to make it much easier and might also hurt Sony. They also talked about the PlayStation Plus, which I personally don't know much about. It's the same as Xbox, though. It's a $5 a month subscription every month, and basically what he talked about in this is that it's going to carry over from the PS3 as well as the PS Vita if you already have it. It's just going to carry right on over. You obviously don't need this. Being on the PlayStation, you can have a normal PlayStation account and play online without getting PlayStation Plus. The Plus just gives you discounted games, cloud saves, automatic game updates, early access to betas, which really is not that comparable because DLC gets early to Xbox One because everybody's paying the $5, not just the people who want the Plus. You also get the Instant Game Collection, which I don't know what that is, and immersive multiplayer online experience, which, wow, that's immersive, man. Only $5 for that immersion. Finally, last but not least, they showed us Destiny. This is a huge game, bringing together the guys from Bungie as well as Activision. Activision known for many games, including Call of Duty, and Bungie known for their Halo games. Now, this is going to be on Xbox as well. They said that it's going to be the best on the PlayStation 4, obviously, because it's a PlayStation 4 conference, but they never said why, which kind of intrigued me. They always kept saying that it's going to be better on the PlayStation 4, but they never explained why anything was going to be better. So that was one thing I think they could have improved on. But this game essentially is going to be an open world multiplayer game, and you actually get to see some awesome footage from this. I just skipped through some of it. Essentially, this game is going to be similar to Skyrim or Borderlands, those type of things, but it's actually going to be open world, MMORPG style. You're going to choose a different race depending on what you want to, and then take out bosses like you're seeing this guy do here. He's actually working with his teammate who has died, and you can revive him as he's going to do there, and you get loot from the bosses like this gun he just picked up. The other guy got a sniper rifle. That's really awesome. You're also going to have an aspect of leveling up in this game. It looked like you can level up the weapons as well in one menu that he showed us, and they also have huge public world events. Now, I don't know how many people there's going to be in one specific region. There is one game out right now on the current generation of consoles that does have a certain amount of people in an MMORPG type style, but it's only the people directly around you. Whereas if you look at a computer style game like World of Warcraft, which is MMORPG, where you're going to level up massive amounts of people in one type of realm or server instead, and there's thousands of people, and it is in one area, but you can see much farther, and there's a much larger radius. It's also going to be a question how you communicate on the console, because that's a little bit different. You're not going to have a keyboard, which actually PS3 will have an option of having a keyboard and mouse, so that'll be interesting. They didn't actually mention that during the event today, but I have heard that in other reports. This personally, or excuse me, this what you're watching right now, though, is part of this public event where all of these different people came together and were taking out these monsters. After this, they showed us kind of the actual trailer that they have. You got to see a few of the different races that were in this game, as well as some of the epic graphics and massive world environment that they have. I think this is really going to be an outstanding game. I've been following it for a while, just watching it since the concept art and following these guys on Twitter. I think this is going to be a huge game regardless of what platform you get it on. Definitely keep an eye out for this one, if any. There it is, though, ladies and gentlemen. That was how they wrapped up this year's Sony E3 live coverage event. Hope you did enjoy this recap and review. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. My name is StoneMountain64. Hey, how you doing? I would have loved to see some more gameplay in this. Personally, we got to see a lot more in the actual Xbox Ones, and a lot of those games, including Halo, and a lot of interesting things, Battlefield included. So if you want to check that out, I have it annotated on screen, as well as link in the description down below. That's it for me today, though, ladies and gentlemen. Check out all my videos, and I'll see you guys next time. This is StoneMountain64 signing out. Later.